Well, good morning to you guys. It is February 11th, recording this video at 8 a.m. Just wanted to give you a little update at what we're looking at weather-wise. It is a storm alert weather day today, and it will be again tomorrow. We're tracking multiple waves of heavy rain here across the Tennessee Valley. Going to be some flooding issues or flooding concerns coming up, and those low-lying areas or flood-prone areas here over the next 24 to 48 hours, especially tomorrow. I think that's going to be our higher risk for some flash flooding here across parts of our coverage area. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. Temperatures this morning generally in the low 40s from Cleveland northbound, even Dayton in the 30s, 42 in Blue Ridge, 46 in Dalton, and really not going to see those temperatures budge a whole lot today. A lot of cloud cover, a lot of rain, and that warm front should mainly stay to our south, but Scottsboro, Fort Payne, you may climb into the 50s. That may be the warm spots, and the further south and west you go, you're going to get into some of that warmer air. But here's a look at our system that's going to bring us heavy rain. We got a warm front kind of lifting to the north. A lot of moisture with this, all the way back into southeast Texas. So we got a lot of rain to come. On the north end of this, a pretty good dumping of some snow. Lexington, Kentucky, Richmond, Virginia. D.C. expected to get 4 to 6 inches of snowfall. West Virginia, but for us, that rain-snow line's just a little far to the north. We got heavy rain coming into our neck of the woods. And here's a look at some of those weather alerts. There's a lot going on across the Ohio Valley, here in the Tennessee Valley. Flood watches in effect for the green shades all the way to southern Kentucky. But look at that, those flood watches are butted up against winter storm warnings. So there's just a fine line of rain to snow. And typically that's what happens. A few degrees can make a huge difference, and that's what we're seeing to our north. Winter storm warnings all the way to Delaware and southern Jersey. And then there's going to be another winter storm affecting Detroit, Chicago, and parts of the Plain States with some heavy snow over the next couple of days. So it's going to be very active in the northern part of the country with multiple rounds of winter weather. For us, it's going to be all about the rain. Flood watch is in effect for pretty much our entire coverage area. So Hamilton County, McMinn County, Cherokee County, all of North Georgia, up through Knoxville, even the Tri-Cities under a flood watch. Those go into effect 12 o'clock this afternoon all the way through Thursday morning. You can see what time this expires. Thursday morning at 7 o'clock. So our flooding potential is going to be highest probably tomorrow through Thursday morning as more of that runoff starts to swell some of these local rivers and streams. So we're going to have to watch that pretty closely. You got to also keep in mind, it's been dry. We've been dealing with the drought for some time. So a lot of runoff initially is going to lead to some of those issues. Now the flooding concerns today probably going to be higher in that yellow shade. So parts of Walker, Dade, Tuca, down into DeKalb and Jackson counties. And then tomorrow gets a little bit higher for places like Cleveland, Athens, Dayton, Blue Ridge. A slight risk, which is level 2 out of 5 issued by the WPC for flooding potential. And as we zoom out, you can see there's a pretty broad area of that from Louisiana all the way to the Carolinas. And keep in mind, this also includes western North Carolina, those areas impacted hard by Helene back in September. So definitely thinking about all of those folks up there, still recovering from Helene's damage. Also northeast Tennessee. So hopefully we don't have a big flooding event, but it is something we're going to watch pretty closely in the coming days. Our rain chance is really going to start to go up this afternoon and evening, becoming widespread. Maybe a little bit of a lull in the activity Wednesday morning before we're right back at it as we get into your afternoon. So far today, it's just been a couple of light showers. I can show you the radar really quickly. Not a lot going on. Some showers moving in Hamilton County up to Ray, Bledsoe, Meigs County, but the heaviest stuff's in Middle Tennessee, but it's coming our way. So although it's not here yet, by this afternoon, it's certainly going to start to rain pretty good here across much of the Tennessee Valley. So let's take a look at our storm tracker. All right, so we will fast forward this to about 11 o'clock this morning. Heavy stuff starts to come into the Cumberland Plateau, Van Buren, Sequatchie, Bledsoe, Grundy counties. But after about 1, 2 o'clock, Chattanooga, Athens, you start to get on the action. So this is going to move in from the northwest to the southeast throughout the day. And then by about 3, 4 o'clock, we're looking at generally widespread rain across much of our coverage area, continuing throughout much of the evening. So by 9 o'clock, still dealing with some of that rain overnight. Just steady, moderate to heavy rain at times. And tomorrow morning, widespread light to moderate rain. Going to be about 12 to 18 hours into some pretty consistent rain. So there's going to be some ponding out there tomorrow morning. Could be some localized flooding issues. But look what happens as we get into the afternoon hours on Wednesday. That's when the rain really starts to pick up in intensity and coverage, where you see those yellows and reds. That's heavy rainfall continuing throughout the afternoon and evening Wednesday. So your Wednesday evening commute home from work is probably going to be pretty nasty. So you might want to leave work a few minutes early if you can. But nonetheless, take it easy out there on the roadways, because we're going to have some slowdowns periodically over the next 2 days. The rain continues throughout the evening. It's going to be pretty heavy. Could be a few rumbles of thunder. I don't really think we're going to have much of a severe threat here, but nonetheless, we're looking at heavy rainfall area-wide through about Thursday morning, and then the rain ends pretty quickly by the time we wake up on Thursday. So by daybreak on Thursday morning, most of this starts to move out, and we should get some sunshine for your Thursday, and then we're going to enter a 2-day drying period, Thursday and Friday. So heavy rain begins in earnest this afternoon, continues all the way through early Thursday morning, and then we're going to get a little bit of a break. But here's our latest rainfall potential through Thursday morning. This is our in-house model, picking up a solid shield of 3 to 5 inches of rainfall, which is a lot of rain in a 2-day period. Typically for the month of February, we get about 4.5 to 5 inches on average. So we're talking a month's worth of rainfall here in the next 24 to 48 hours. So there's going to be a lot of runoff. Again, the ground's still pretty dry. So we're not going to see a lot of this absorbing initially. And as this runoff occurs hour after hour for, a 24 to 48 hour period, you're going to have those flooding concerns. So that's going to be a big issue over the next couple of days. And then even Thursday into Friday, yeah, we're going to have some sunshine, but that runoff is going to lead to those rivers and creeks still rising even during those sunny days. So we'll have to keep that in mind and keep a close eye on that moving forward. Break in the rain Thursday and Friday, like I mentioned, but you already knew that wasn't going to last long. We're in an active pattern. By the time we get into Saturday morning, another snowstorm takes shape across the Great Lakes and parts of the plains. For us, it's going to be more about the rain. Looks like most of the Saturday morning just going to be some light showers. Then during the afternoon and evening, here it comes. So we're going to be tracking a dynamic system, a deepening low pressure, a strong cold front, a lot of wind shear, which means this main line of storms, which will likely move through Saturday night into Sunday morning, is going to lead to, I would say, some damaging wind gusts. Even ahead of this system, we're probably going to have gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour with higher gusts in the mountains. And keep in mind, the ground's going to become a little more saturated, so trees coming down could be an issue. Maybe even some mudslide in some mountain communities, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. And then Sunday morning, this is going to power through, and that's where we could have some strong to severe storms. But by Sunday morning, things are going to dry out. And look at that, some blue showing up. Some of our mountain and plateau communities could even be dealing with a little bit of snow showers throughout the day on Sunday as Arctic, I don't want to say Arctic air, but colder air starts to move in. Not going to be an Arctic blast like January, but it is going to be the coldest air so far this month because it has been very warm. Now here's a look at your potential rainfall over the next 7 days, 5 to 7 inches. I would say 3 to 5 of that coming the next 2 days, and then another 1 to 2 as we move into your Saturday night, and early Sunday morning. Now let's talk more about the severe threats, because yes, flooding is going to be a big potential. I've been talking about that, but as we go into your Saturday, we are going to have some storm fuel coming in along that main front. Now the highest threat for severe weather likely going to set up across the deep south, southern Mississippi, parts of Alabama. But some of that fuel gets as far north as Knoxville and the I-40 corridor, so we'll have to watch that. There's going to be instability. There's going to be a ton of wind shear. If I could show you that graphic, I would, but for some reason I can't get it to pull up today. But we're talking very strong winds above us, and that's going to lead to a strengthening line of storms. So we're going to have to watch that closely. Likely Saturday evening between about 8 and 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. And then as that cold front passes, the air becomes a little more stable as that cold air starts to move back in. So again, going to have that threat for some severe weather coming up this weekend. Today, no severe threat. Tomorrow, maybe a low wind risk for places like Scottsboro, Fort Payne, Rome, Georgia, Chattooga County, mainly southwest of Chattanooga. A higher risk for parts of Mississippi, Alabama, down into Louisiana and the Gulf Coast states. So Again, tomorrow we could have a few rumbles of thunder, but that light green, that's just general thunderstorms. Should stay below severe criteria. And then moving into your Saturday, the SPC is already outlining a threat for severe weather, 15% chance, which is pretty high this far out for much of the deep south, including our coverage area, all of North Alabama, most of southeast Tennessee, and most of northwest Georgia. So we'll have to watch late Saturday into Sunday closely, and that's why we're going to have another storm alert weather day. So just go ahead and prepare for that. We'll see how this kind of wow, I just totally lost my train of thought. We'll see how this all plays out. Is what I was going to say. We'll see how this all plays out over the next couple of days, but go ahead and circle Saturday night into Sunday as another day where you need to be weather aware. Now, we've talked about the rain potential and the threat for severe weather. Let's get into temperatures here briefly. The next 7 days, we're talking cooler temperatures, 48 today, 52 tomorrow. We may stay in the 40s tomorrow as well. Drying out Thursday and Friday, mid-50s. And then look what happens Monday. That cold air starts to move back in. We're going to have a high of 45, which is going to be about 10 degrees below normal for this time of the year, because keep in mind, by the middle of February, our averages are in the mid to almost upper 50s. But looking at the 6 to 10 day temperature trend, that cold air finally going to start to push a little further to the south. So we have a pretty good chance of below normal temperatures, which of course, 45, 48, 49 degrees, even low 50 is going to be below normal. So we'll see how strong this cold air is going to be. But right now it does look like it is going to be the coldest air we've had this month, which isn't saying much because we've had 0. And then your 8 to 14 day temperature trend was favoring some blue. I don't know why this doesn't populate between 8 and 9, but it never does, so we're just not going to show that. But here's a look at our upper level charts. This gives us an idea of how the pattern's going to evolve over the next couple of days. Blues, that's upper level troughing, and then your reds and oranges, that's higher heights or some ridging. So we're going to see some decent ridging through the end of the week. So Thursday and Friday likely to be on the drier side. Going to be fairly mild in the mid to upper 50s. Cold air going to be locked into the north, and we're going to have an active storm track across the northern plains and Great Lakes and even the northeast, where multiple rounds of winter weather is going to be possible. And then that cold front comes through on Sunday, and look what happens by the time we get into Sunday and Monday. Jet stream dips, allows for that cold air to move south, so it's going to turn a lot colder throughout the day on Sunday and Monday, which could lead to some mountain snow showers early next week. So that's something we're going to watch closely, while warmer air is going to be favored a little further to the west. So that cold air dropping down is going to cut off that Pacific flow for a while, and we're going to get that cross-polar flow, which brings in that colder air. And then even through the end of the month, could we be talking a pattern change? We're going from well above normal temperatures to the potential for colder air across much of the southeast and east coast towards the end of the month. So it does look like we're doing a little pattern flip-flop. We'll see how these trends hold up, but over the next 6 to 20, or the next 10-day period, from the 16th to the 26th, there's a good chance of about 10 to 15 degrees below normal temperatures across much of those green shades, which includes Tennessee, North Georgia, Northeast Alabama. So winter's not done yet. I've been preaching that for a while. And we could even have more winter weather threats towards the end of the month. Again, it's not uncommon to get snow in late February or early March here across parts of the Tennessee Valley. Not saying it's going to happen, but the pattern is going to be a little more conducive towards the end of the month. So here's a look at your chance of 1 inch of snowfall through the 21st of February using our European ensemble. Pretty good shot, really, north of Kentucky. The northern tier of the country is certainly going to get some decent snow, which will lead to a snowpack and colder air. As that cold air comes down, it doesn't modify as quickly. About a 10 to 20% chance across North Georgia, Southeast Tennessee of up to 1 inch of snow over the next 10 days. So not a good chance, but it is something worth watching. For the GFS, about the same. So it looks like there could be a stripe of some snowfall trying to move further to the south. Maybe that cold air is going to stay put, so we're going to have an active storm track. You put those two things together. If it comes together perfectly, we could get more winter weather here across the southeast. So we'll keep an eye on it for now. I'm not seeing anything glaring. Maybe the middle of next week, we have another piece of energy coming down. The cold air is kind of in place. So maybe some winter weather at some point during the middle of next week, somewhere in our vicinity. Not saying it's going to be here in the Tennessee Valley, but it is something worth watching because temperature trends are going down. Again, this is your European ensemble averages. So, low 40s, mid 40s, overnight lows below freezing. So we're going to have plenty of freezing mornings coming up over the next week and a half. I would say after about February 17th. So next week, towards the end of the month, we are trending colder. So the messaging today, flooding potential today and tomorrow, especially tomorrow. Another round of flooding rains possible on Saturday with the potential for severe weather Saturday night and Sunday morning. It's also going to be quite breezy Thursday and Saturday, aside from any threat for storms. So here's a look at your 7-day forecast, and then I'll wrap this up. I know this was a longer video, so thank you for tuning in, but there's a lot to talk about. Heavy rain today and tomorrow, clearing out Thursday and Friday. More heavy rain and potential for strong storms Saturday night into early Sunday morning, and then much colder air moves in next week. So that's kind of a breakdown of the next week, week and a half, all the way through the end of the month. We're going to watch that threat for some colder air to close out February, but in the short term, it's going to be more about the heavy rain and potential for strong storms this weekend. So I'll have another update tomorrow morning. Have a great day.